everybody, this is Cody Knight 22 here. Welcome to Cody Talks Fandom, the allergic edition. I'm sorry about the way that I sound right now, but I'm allergic. There's nothing I can really do about it. So I'm just going to be congested throughout this. But on the bright side, this is going to be an interview episode, and continuing on with the cycle, this is now going to be artists. After this is just 2 more interviews that I will be doing before I have to restart the cycle. But for right now, let's focus back onto the artists. This person I'm excited to have on the show. Another person that was referenced in the art episode, or the artist episode, back when this show was still called fan fiction, not fandom. And so this person is really, really awesome. I love what they do. I love their comics a lot. I think of them as a really big comic artist. One of the few people in the fandom that I am aware of that is really swings heavily towards Sun rather than Ruby or Juniper, but does not stop them from having absolutely fantastic comics that a lot of people really do love. Because they're so damn humorous. Everybody, please welcome to the show, Miss-Nerdgasmz.
Hey, everybody.
So, I've been, when I did the artist episode, I knew that I wanted every single person that I referenced in the artist episode onto the show. And I was like, let's do Lex now, because I want to have her on the show.
Oh, it's good to be here.
Yeah, it's good to have you on too. Like I love doing the interviews, and it's fun to have you on. It's fun to have people on the show. But are you ready to hear how many questions that you have that I've totally figured out longer than like 2 minutes ago?
Sure. How many?
34.
Ooh, 34.
So that is the second most, because Hannah got 54,000 questions.
Oh my gosh.
Hannah. So, are you ready to get going?
Sure.
How'd you first discover RWBY?
Oh my gosh, I love this story. I first discovered RWBY. I went to probably my first anime convention in 2013. I was with my college roommate. Her name is Hunter, aka Sarah's Messenger on Tumblr. And we went to Anime St. Louis together. And she had a friend who was an artist and cosplayer. And her friend's name was Tara. And we talked to her really briefly, and there was like a RWBY panel at ASTL. I had no idea what RWBY was at the time. But Tara, she's like wearing this like really awesome Red Riding Hood cosplay or whatever with a scythe, and I'm like, what are you cosplaying? That looks cool. And she's like, oh, I'm cosplaying a character for RWBY. And this is like around the time where RWBY was like just getting started. So I was like, I have no idea what that is, but it sounds cool. And so I didn't start watching it yet though. So until many months later that year, and it was around summertime. I was on Tumblr and I was scrolling through my dashboard like usual, blah blah blah, and one of my mutuals, I think it was Squeaky Shiona, but I'm not sure. They reblogged a gift set of this blonde guy that's using these ridiculous nunchucks. So I was like, what is happening? What is this? This is cool looking. And like, I was like fixated on what that was. I was like, I have to find out what that is. So then I started watching RWBY from there. And I think I watched like 1 episode. And I think I watched like the first episode, and then I fell off of watching the rest of the series because I was like, okay, I have no idea. I was like busy doing other things like commissions and stuff, so I didn't watch the rest of it for a while. But then I watched the rest of it because I was like, I have to find out who that blonde guy was. Was that Jean? Like, I literally thought that Sun was Jean when I first saw that photo set. So like for months I was like, well, maybe Jean, he like got tired of his grandfather's weapon and he made his own and turned into a badass. And like that's not the case at all. So I like binge watched the rest of RWBY, and I fell into the abyss that is known as Everything is a Gun from there on out. So that's my first encounter with RWBY's story. I think I finished watching it in like I finished watching the first season in like fall, and I was like, I have to start drawing this because it was just so compelling. And I didn't watch the trailers yet either, so it was like I was like completely out of the loop on certain things. Like I fell for the Blake is a faunus. Spoiler: Blake is a faunus plot twist very easily, and I was like, "What?" But then I went back and watched the trailers. And I was like, "Oh, now it makes sense." So that's my RWBY story.
That is a great story. Also, I love that you actually fell for it. Congratulations, you're the first person on the show to ever have fallen for that.
Yeah. It was like, why are you making... I was like, when I looked at the fandom, I was like, why are you making fun of people that fell for the Blake is a faunus plot twist? And then I found out the trailers existed. I was like, oh.
Well, this was anticlimactic.
So.
Yeah, no, it was, yeah. Also, I love that it was Sun that convinced you to start watching the show. Yeah. Basically.
And like the funny thing was, he doesn't show up until like the last 2 episodes of the first season.
That kept you watching.
Sure did.
You had to find out. So appropriate that it was Sun. Next question: what do you like most about RWBY?
Sun Wukong. I'm just kidding. I like that. RWBY is one of those shows that like. I'm really turned off to watching a lot of anime because a lot of anime is very predictable. Yeah, very predictable, very tropey, very male gaze fan servicey. And those are a lot of things that like
that means boobs.
Yeah, they really deter me from watching anime. And so RWBY is one of those shows. It's very strongly female led show without not completely using every character for fan service. Like, I mean, there's Yang, but still, it's like everybody else for the most part. And even Yang
has a better purpose than just boobs.
Yeah, it's like even with a character like Yang in the shows, it's probably like most easily like sexualized characters by like fans of the show. She's not actually like completely actively sexualized in the show. Mm-hmm. So I like that I finally have my awesome shonen action anime that has mostly female characters, and they're not like just thrown to the wayside and just there to look pretty. So that's one of my favorite things about it. The other favorite thing about it is how they completely use quote unquote useless female character end quote characters like as male characters doing it instead of the female characters. Like Ren in the Towel in season 2. That was awesome. I like completely lost it when that happened. I was like, yes! Oh my gosh. And like
Ren was the fan service.
Yeah, that was beautiful. And like Sun and Neptune being useless in the volume 2 finale, that was like, I love them, I really do. But I greatly appreciate that the boys were useless. So I love how RWBY defies your typical action anime tropes and gives the girls the spotlight for the most part. So that's what I love about RWBY.
Next question, though. What was the first RWBY fan art you remember seeing?
The first RWBY fan art I remember seeing? I don't remember, to be quite honest.
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be exact. I did say. I gave you the out.
Yeah, I don't have a clue. I think the first, like, really fan art I saw of RWBY was, like, probably, like, Japanese fan art from Pixiv or something on my dashboard. I'm not really sure. But yeah, like, I wasn't really following a lot of people that watched RWBY at the time. I could probably go on my Tumblr real quick and find out which first RWBY fan art I found.
Probably
actually,
could.
Because I have RWBY tagged very early. Let me see. I'm doing the chronological tag thing. So let me see. Yep, is Japanese Pixiv fan art. At least the first thing I have tagged on here. It's of let me see who it's by.
Is it of Sun?
No, it's of Team RWBY.
Bummer.
So what do you mean bummer?
I love Team RWBY. The cycle was almost complete.
But yeah, it's Team RWBY fan art. It's probably like one of the more famous images of Team RWBY from Pixiv. So anyway, So yeah, I found it, and if I need to reblog it or link it or something, I can.
Yeah, no, we'll just take your word for it.
Yeah.
Uh, because that's just more links for me. All right,
That's not good.
yeah. Something I actually totally forgot to mention in the intro because I'm bad. You also do animation stuff.
Yes, I
2D, not
do.
3D, much to my chagrin.
Um, I'm still.
I say chagrin just because I sent you the thing. It was like, hey, I saw you were gonna do the thing for the 3D animation, and for whatever reason, I actually thought it was 3D. That wasn't a typo. That was just me saying 3D.
Oh well, I mean, I'm kind of fiddling with both at the moment. We'll
uh,
see, because right now 3D is. Oh my god, 3D is awful. Like I'm like, why do people torture themselves like this? Oh my goodness, there's so much work. I'm not very inclined to 3D art. Like I'm good at geometry, so that's what's helped make it easier. But for the most part, it's just like rigging and stuff is like, why this? Why?
Make it stop.
Yeah. So I'm just like, oh, it's making me realize very quickly, like how, on the one hand, 3D is harder than 2D, but on the other hand, it's also easier in some ways, and it's very confusing and weird. So, but I'm kind of fiddling with both. But right now, I'm better at 2D animation than 3D.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
But the next question though actually pertains to that, which is why I did have to go in and say that. What first inspired you to become an artist slash animator? And this is from both the pun master and Miles Above Peter.
Oh, okay. Shout out to Conrad, by the way.
Who's Conrad?
Oh, that's Miles Above Peter.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. What inspired me to become an artist is I'm a huge weeb. I'm literally like a second generation weeb because my dad grew up with Dragon Ball Z and other classic like imported anime from like Funimation and stuff. So
Yeah.
like my dad was huge into Dragon Ball Z, and like my sister is like huge into Disney and stuff, and she was pretty much like practicing to be a cartoonist. And I was like, when I was like 5, I would like doodle too and be like, hey, I want to do that too. And then like I started getting more serious about that stuff when I was like 8, and I was watching Sonic the Hedgehog and stuff, and I was trying to draw Sonic from the TV as quickly as possible. So, and then I realized like
You gotta go fast.
yeah, and I'm literally good at drawing fast because of drawing Sonic. What do you know? So,
His quest is complete.
but like I didn't really realize that anime was like anime. Like I didn't know it came from Japan until like middle school, when like I'd sit at a lunch table with my group of nerdy friends and stuff, and one of my friends had like manga and stuff, and I was like, wait, there's comic book versions of this? And like I would read that stuff, and I was like, oh, I want to draw this. So like Shonen Jump and stuff like that, and like just like middle school stuff, like Naruto especially was like one of my bigger inspirations for like getting into drawing manga and stuff. And then it's like my end goal was like to have my stuff animated anyway, so I was like, why wait? Why not just start animating now? And I started animating when I was like, I started animation when I was like 16, I think. Maybe 15. I don't know. But I started like practicing animation like
Somewhere around
5
there.
years ago. Yeah.
You were able to get like some form of driving recognition in there.
Yeah. So, and I was like, the other thing about it is that like my art is like outside of Sonic art. Like my art was very unpopular and like DeviantArt and stuff until I started drawing RWBY comics, which is very yeah. Like there's like my DeviantArt views were very stagnant until I started making RWBY comics and posting them, and suddenly like my views were jumping to like the thousands and stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, this has never happened before. So it was very I was like, okay, I'm good at this. Maybe I should keep doing this. And also I like doing this. So
No.
I've been drawing comics for a while, but it's just like with RWBY especially, it's like, oh, okay, I can keep doing this.
Well, I'm glad you stuck to it. Just because I enjoy the comics. They're a lot of fun. Next question though is, how long have you been drawing? And this is from an Anon.
Oh, I've been drawing. I've literally been drawing since I was like 5, but I started drawing seriously and critically, like actually like examining my art and squinting at it, like that doesn't look right. Since I was like 8 years old. So yeah,
That was with the drawings of Sonic.
yeah.
Sonic the Hedgehog. All right. What made you decide to draw for RWBY?
um, Let me think. Um, I'm trying to specifically think like what my very first RWBY comic that I drew. I think I forgot to post it for a very long time until like after the
Rip.
fact. But it's like um it was the comic with Ren in bed, and he was like Pyrrha was like trying to wake him up, and she's like, Ren, it's almost time to go to class. He's like, why aren't you up yet? He's like, I'm a bed burrito. And it's just like Pyrrha was like, oh my god. And Ren was like, he was like, the moment that I awake from my cocoon and become a beautiful butterfly that attends classes is the moment that they make classes later in the day. And Pierre was like, well, at this rate, you're going to be a moth. And then like Nora jumps on him while he's still under the covers, and she's like,
Oh my
bye,
god.
die. And that was like my first comic. It's just like, I think like what got me was like Team Juniper. Cause I love like the main like teams and stuff. Like I love Team RWBY and Juniper and Team Sun. It's just like I love them so much. So Team Juniper was great to start off with, and so I was just like, oh my gosh, I need to draw this, and I drew it, and I just forgot to post it. So um the other
Rip.
thing that got me into drawing RWBY was like the very first RWBY fan art that I made was like I drew RWBY without referencing RWBY. I drew RWBY and it was really bad, but you know, it was like RWBY is like one of my. I love them all, but like RWBY is up there as one of my top favorite characters because like I really relate to her because she's smart, but she's also not smart at the same time, and
Yeah.
she's a huge geek and nerd, and she has like you can tell like what she gets excited about, and I'm like, I love her. She's my daughter. Like, so RWBY is like one of the first characters I drew, because I like her a lot. But Blake is definitely like my top favorite female character. Everybody knows who my favorite male character is, so yeah.
Boy, I wonder who that could be.
So.
Wonder who that could be. Do you aspire to create original work in the future?
Oh yeah, definitely. I have like, how many concepts is it? I have like
12.
somewhere around there. I'm just kidding. It's like 4 or 5. I have like 4 original stories that I'm like,
Oh.
that are in development stages. One of my concepts being like an idea I've had since middle school that I am working on, and I am very sincerely hoping that I can get around to making it. It's probably going to wind up being a web series. I always thought it would be like a mainstream television animated series, but I still don't know. But it's probably going to be a web series, or to start out with at least. So.
Yep. All right. Who's your favorite character?
Gee, I wonder who.
I never would guess.
Like I said, my favorite female character is Blake. With
Shoutouts.
RWBY and Nora are tied for second. Favorite male character, Sun Wukong. Tied with Sun Wukong is Neptune Vasilius, because oh my god, what a huge nerd! I love him. I love them both so much.
Hey, intellectual.
Whatever. I love. Oh my gosh. And for third place is Ren. I love Ren so much. I loved Ren since like his very initial appearance. I just love him. So yeah.
He's somebody that it's like he's a lifelong friend with Nora, so he's dealt with a lot of shit. Just nothing phases him anymore.
Yeah, like as soon as he's like, Nora, I don't think sloths make a lot of noise, I fell in love with him. I was like, oh my gosh, who is this beautiful man? Like, oh my god, like Ren is Beautiful cinnamon roll, too good for this world, too pure.
Oh my god.
Gosh. Oh my goodness. So yeah, those are my favorite characters. Sun is my absolute top favorite character. I love him.
All right. And next question. Why do you like Team Sun so much?
Because they're hot. I mean, like, no, I'm just kidding. But like,
I mean, I wouldn't blame you for that qualification.
no, but like when I first saw Sun, it was like this is like this douchebag. He comes running off a boat, and he's like, he's like, hey, no good stowaway would have been caught. I'm a great stowaway. It's like he does it, so like he completely owns up to the fact that he illegally hitched a ride on a boat. It's like, all right, I'm interested. Then he does parkour off of the like light pole thing he stands on, and he runs away from the police. I was like, okay. And then like when he ran past and when he winked at Blake, it was like, oh no! Like I was like, oh no, oh no, no! And I was like completely sold. I was like, this is my favorite character now. Like, and so on top of that, then to find out like when the volume 2 opening was leaked, and that was like around
There's 4 of them.
yeah, it's like, oh my god, he has a team! Like I was freaking out. And so it's just like, oh man, he has teammates. I can't wait to see what that's like. It was like at the time, it was like we weren't even really sure if he was the leader of his own team. Although it's and then like
technically
then,
we still aren't.
Yeah, and then like we got more info and stuff, and it's like, oh my god, he's totally the leader of his team. It's like, which technically isn't confirmed, but it's like there's enough evidence to suggest like Sun would totally be like his team's leader, even if like he's kind of he's an a-hole sometimes, but he's like he's great. Like that's what makes him great. He's like the lovable rogue and stuff. It's like, yeah, he steals stuff, but it's not like he denies stealing stuff, and he does it for a specific reason. It's not like he doesn't just do it like Emerald and Mercury did. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, to be fair, he didn't really have to steal fruit.
Yeah. But Team Sun is my favorite because like Sun, like I said, is like my favorite character for various reasons. And, how ridiculous is a character that like he doesn't wear a shirt. Like all he wears is like this short sleeve jacket thingy and just like runs around like that. And it's like, okay, I'm listening. And then on top of that, like all of his teammates are hot. Like, dang it, Rooster Teeth, you got me. Ugh. So it's like, and then when Neptune debuted, it's like I was drawing fan art of Neptune before I knew what Neptune's name was. Like, but it's like because like he's in the Volume 2 trailer and stuff. It's like, oh my gosh, this guy is awesome. So like,
you got Neptune right.
Yeah, it is like I nicknamed him Azure before I knew his name was Neptune. But it's like,
well, that you didn't get right.
Yeah, but it's like everything else, like Sun and Neptune being buddies and stuff, and being like huge nerds together and stuff. It's like, I can't believe I got this right. And then so like Neptune, just like the whole Neptune got me when he was like, intellectual, okay, thank you. And then he was like, I'm Neptune. And then he like walked. I'm gonna get shit for this. I know this, but like then he walks over to Weiss and he's like, and I haven't cut your name, Snow Angel. And John in the background was like, are you kidding me? But like, I lost it because I was like, oh my god. I was like, no. Like, it's like, like them being flirty is probably what sold me. It's just like, God, I'm fangirl trash. I hate it.
Oh my god.
And it's like, Fandom's gonna hate me for this, but they're not my OTP, but I ship Neptune and Weiss. Sorry. I like them. I know they're not in-gamey or anything, but I do like the idea of them. And, like, it's not like I'm not aware of why Weiss and Neptune is a problem or whatever, why people don't like it. It's just like, I don't care.
Yeah. No, I get that. Like, People ship all sorts of trash,
Yeah,
so I don't think.
I'm a multi shipper, so it's like,
Yeah. Oh, it's the way to go.
yeah. So it's like I like any couple as long as like the chemistry is there and the fan art is super good.
Yeah.
So and
Well,
people can make it plausible. And then
yeah,
there's
well,
like the trash
fan art
ships,
is
which
not
I'm not
super
gonna
good
go into
for
that, but
Arctic Ocean. It's like there's nothing
I
there.
don't even like Weiss and Neptune is so ridiculous. Like they don't even have like a consistent ship name. Because I don't care and I know they don't have a consistent ship name. I just call them Vishnelias on my blog. Because it's like, well, Arcos exists. Like all these other characters have their last names mashed together, so I'm mashing Neptune and Weiss's last name together. And
That's
plus,
fair.
if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be able to call Jean Weiss and Neptune French Vishnela. So yeah, versatile ship names. I love
Really?
them. Yep. And
God
like
damn it.
Neptune and Weiss and Jean as like a poly ship is hilarious to me, just because like I drew fan art like that pretty much summarized why I like the idea of their interaction. And it's basically like
I
Weiss
remember that.
using Jean and Neptune as her footstools because they're so freaking tall. So it's like,
Pretty much.
yeah, this is why I ship this. This is the only rationale I have. I don't care.
So Weiss can be taller. Which character do you associate with yourself the most?
Blake. Like, I mean, like I said, well, between Blake and Ruby, especially.
Okay.
Like, because, yeah, Blake, Ruby, and Nora. Like I said, like, basically my top 3 favorite female
Yeah, I
characters.
was gonna say this.
It's
This
very,
sounds familiar.
yeah. Blake is, because I'm a very multifaceted person, and, like, not a lot of people know, like, how, like, people can't really pinpoint my personality, and to be honest, I can't pinpoint my personality. Like, the only way I can describe it is with my horoscope sign, which is Gemini. And, like, I really don't believe in horoscopes. I really don't. I have to put that out there right now. But it's like, zodiacs and stuff, like, kind of enable this, like, ability to characterize something that I'm not able to easily describe. So, but anyway, like, Blake is she's introverted, keeps to herself, she's very smart, she's very talented, as evidenced by Ozpin when she said what he said in volume 2, that she got in with flying colors, even though she has, like, literally no formal schooling. So, like, and that's kind of pretty much a good way to describe me, because in school I was like, in school, which I very much dislike, I was like this gifted student or whatever, and like, even though I like coasted by with good grades and didn't really have to try hard to make good grades, except in science and history classes. So it's just like, I was like naturally smart and stuff. And then you have Ruby, who's like this nerdy and kind of naive, character. And I'm kind of like that, and people have told me I have like leadership qualities and stuff, and crazy ideas, but somehow they work and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
very much so.
I'm socially awkward, so that works too. And then there's Nora. And Nora's she's very talkative and boisterous, which I can be like sometimes, especially when I get really excited about things. And,
when I reference Sun.
Yeah. And like, and I too, like Nora, really like Ren. So, but I also like appreciate, like, I have a friend that's like Ren, that's like very patient and like completely okay with like my ridiculous talkative outbursts and stuff. And it's just like, I feel like I'm annoying, but when I'm around that person, it's like everything is okay. And like, just, yeah. So I greatly appreciate stuff like that. So I feel like I relate to those 3 characters probably, but I more so lean towards probably Ruby, and Blake. So.
All right. Sounds good.
I missed the detail. The other thing is that Blake is like super passionate and like unexpectedly passionate about things and stuff. Like, I don't think like very many people, without having watched the Black trailer like I did, like, I was not expecting Blake to be like as passionate as she was as soon as like Weiss started talking down towards Faunus and stuff, and she like got really Blake is like the first time Blake had been really visibly upset, and like people react to me like that a lot too. It's like when they don't know that something will upset me or whatever, or like it's something that I find irritating, I'll like straight up let them know like, yo, that's not cool. And then like if I have to explain it, I kind of get like that. And plus, Blake has the other thing where, like, once she's focused on something, she is very, very determined to complete her objective, and
Yeah.
she sacrifices her health in order
Everything.
to sacrifices her sleep patterns and her health and eating habits and
And
grades to get that
everything.
thing done. And the funny thing was when that episode came out where Blake was like, is like it was the first time she was shown with bags on her arms and stuff. I was literally pulling an all nighter on art when
Oh
I
my
watched that
god.
episode. I was like, oh my god, Blake is me. So yeah. So I
Oh.
deeply relate to Blake. Especially more so like especially with recent like edits going around. Not sure if you've seen them, but there's like edits of Blake with darker skin or whatever. And this is like
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
I felt like so like validated when I saw that going around. I was like, oh my gosh, I could actually like cosplay her one day. So yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah.
What is your favorite ship?
Favorite ship, Sea Monkeys. At
Okay.
first, when I first got into RWBY, it was Lion Steel, and it was an accident because it's like,
Was that Ren and Sun?
yes, it was an
Okay.
accident, I swear. When I first got into RWBY, I was like, oh man, how cool would it be if Sun and Ren fought each other? But then it was like, when you're a male attracted person and you imagine these very conventionally attracted dudes going at each other and being sweaty afterwards and breathing heavily. It's not a good idea. And then you wind up accidentally shipping them as a couple. So my first ship was Lion Steel, but then it was Sea Monkeys because I love them. Like
Yeah.
I just oh my gosh, I'm very proud of that Sea Monkeys as a ship name took off the way it did.
Yeah.
I was so and like it was christened. I was like, I did it! Yes! I was so happy.
That's a fun ship.
I love Sea Monkeys because I just I like ships that are like is like best friends for like the longest time, but also could also like function as more than friends, but also could function as like it's
Friends.
complicated friends and stuff, whatever, and friends with
Yeah.
benefits and all that stuff. Which is why I like Sea Monkeys and Renora. But anyway, so I just there's like I love Sun and Neptune's dynamic, and I want to see more of them interacting with each other and like really acting like friends and teammates and you know seeing how they interact with each other. So,
All right. That's
which is gonna be interesting.
yeah. Also, I totally relate to the lion steel thing. It's just like, yeah, I can see how that accidentally would happen.
Yeah. So
I'm not gonna do it. Not gonna picture that. I'm just gonna keep going.
save yourself.
It's I already have too much trash that has no content. Can't take on another. What art/artist do you draw inspiration from?
Oh man. So many. Let
Oh,
me
this
see.
one is both within and out of fandom, by the way.
Okay. Outside of fandom, before I was in RWBY, I was in the Yu-Gi-Oh fandom, and that's what I blogged about the most. So I would say Kazuki Takahashi, who's the creator of Yu-Gi-Oh, is one of my influences. Kishimoto, like I was really enthralled by Kishimoto's drawing style when Naruto first came out, and I found out that manga existed. So, but the lines looked really clean and simplistic and stuff. I was like, people draw like this, and it looks nice. I want to do that. And so, Masashi Kishimoto, the creator of Blue Exorcist, their art style, I love it. What else? Oh, I also really like shoujo art styles too, just because like how detailed and how fine the lines can be and whatnot. So like Arina Tarnomura, the creator of Full Moon, Full Sagashite, or however you say that thing, and a bunch of other stuff. Like I like her art. So And I have a bunch of other like obviously like what is their name? I know their username. I swear, and it's on the tip of my tongue, and I can't remember it right now for some reason. The person who did the
I would have
concept
to help,
art
but I have no
for
idea.
Team RWBY for
Oh,
the show.
Rocket?
No, the other one. The first one. Um Jesus
Oh,
Christ. Why can't I remember her name? I reference her art all the time. Ein Lee, that's what her name is. Ein Lee.
alright,
Yeah,
I was
their art was awesome. And of course, like,
literally about to Google it.
yeah. So Ein Lee's art is awesome, like, especially for RWBY. So I really liked it. I was like, this is so pretty. Inside the fandom, Zunies, how do you say their username? Zunies?
Zunies is what I go by. That's what I use.
They're like one of my most favorite artists in the fandom. Their art is so pretty. I'm like, how do you do this? Like, it's just so, like, their art is so, like, warm looking and just, like, gorgeous and just, it's it's so visually appealing and beautiful. I love their art so much. Who else in the fandom? I look up to a lot of people in the fandom. Just Kuma
Same.
from Taiwan's art is great. Gosh, I love Kuma's art.
So pretty.
I'm missing someone else. Jeez, I don't like what I'm missing. Adamant Red's art is awesome. Weiss Rabbit, Dashing Ice Cream. I love their art so much. So many RWBY fans. I love their art so much. So I like it. I like a lot of it. So I'm missing so many like people I look up to, but still, it's just like so many.
All right, so I'll be 100% honest. Know this person, and I talk to them not really regularly, but I talk to them occasionally. No idea how to pronounce their blog name, so this is going to be an interesting experience. Do you have a favorite blog for art or art references? And this is Alexandria
Zendi, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope I pronounced that right too, but that's how I say it in my head.
All right, well, it's Ale.
Yeah, Al. Hi, Al. So, one of my fandom friends. So what was the question?
Do you have a favorite blog for art or art references?
Oh my gosh. Favorite blog for art references. I don't really like mentally keep track of art blogs per se. Okay. I just like whenever I see art reference come across my dashboard, I'm just like, I have to reblog this to save a life. Somebody could use this. I could use this one day. I need to practice. As far as like an art blog, that was the second part of the question, right? Or first part, like what?
Our favorite blog for art or art references, yeah.
Oh, favorite blog for art. Yeah, I don't really have one in particular.
One favorite.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna say no favorites in particular. I reblog whatever references I feel like are visually appealing or whatever I want to implement in my drawing style. So yeah, which I have in a handy tag if you ever want to visit it, called
Reference?
Art Reference. Oh. Yeah, it's Art Reference.
Nice.
So yeah, if you ever want to go on my blog and look through some art references, I have some. So yeah.
Plug. What's your favorite AU?
My favorite AU is probably Henceforward. It's so intriguing, and I feel like I suck because I don't keep up with it. But Henceforward is like so intriguing, and Kuma's art style is so dynamic and full of action, and it's great. And just like I really gotta like read it like all the way like as a whole because it's so good. Every time I see an update from Henceforward, it's like absolutely nothing I'm expecting. Yeah. And that's so great. I love it. Let's see. I'm trying to think of other AUs that I really, really like. I love Ruby Rock. And like I have a very specific facet of Ruby Rock going on in my mind with surprise Team Sun and like I
Oh
like
my god.
I'm yeah, I'm thinking of like fan fiction ideas and animation ideas with Team Sun. And Team Sun's motif is Fallout Boy because I'm emo trash. So but it's like I have a very specific like storyline in my head for Team Sun as a rock band, which is very very interesting and I want to get around to
Well,
it
they're already
soon.
not wearing shirts.
Yeah, so I mean it's just like the funny thing is in the AU they wear shirts, which is
Oh my god,
surprising.
that's the real twist.
Yeah. So, but it's like I suddenly have ideas for them, and Ruby Rocket is like, I didn't ask for this, but now I have to make it. Dang it! I was like, thanks. I need like another idea on my plate. Jeez. So, I really like Ruby Rock. Henceforward AU. There's another AU that I really enjoyed, but I don't know. I like the designs for the future AU.
No,
They're really pretty, and I just if there's a storyline to it, I haven't kept up with it or read it, but I love the designs of it.
there's like a vague
Um,
storyline. It's just like it's kind of like this is the base rules for the AU, and then everybody does whatever they want with those base rules. So
yeah. I'm trying to think. I feel like I'm missing one, but
there's so
um,
many. It's just
yeah. Cause there's a specific one I feel like I'm missing,
okay.
but
I mean, I'm just saying
anyway.
there's so many. I don't blame you for like maybe forgetting
Um,
one.
yeah. So those are the ones that I can think of. So Ruby Rock, Henceforward, and the future AU. I like them.
Oliver, if you had to pick one from those,
Henceforward, all the way.
okay, yeah. So that's top headcanons for characters in RWBY from Nina Fell Down.
Uh, um, jeez. Um, oh my gosh. I'm trying to like think of my headcanons that don't have to do with sexuality and stuff because I know drama ensues because of sexuality headcanon stuff. Not on my side of the fandom, but still. I'll try to stay away from those to see if I have anything outside of
Hopefully in
that.
the Cody Talks fandom as
But
well. It's
yeah.
just there's not that.
My headcanon is totally that I'm just gonna start with the Sun ones. That Sun is totally the team leader of his team, and he's like a very unconventional team leader. Like, the dynamics of his team are like the completely opposite of what you expect and stuff.
Mm.
Like, I also don't think that Sun is very good at long range combat. Like, he's very melee oriented and close range combat because I
Yeah.
don't think his shotguns allow for him to fight from a
Nah, you
distance.
can
But
totally
that's
snipe people with shotguns. Ask Gavin.
but I think that that's where Neptune fills that role, where Neptune, his weapon is literally a long ass pole arm and
Yeah.
whatever, and he uses it to keep his distance from his opponents, and he uses a railgun. So it's like I think that Neptune's strength lies in keeping his distance, and uh, spoiler alert question mark, Neptune's semblance is implied to be teleportation, which is a joke I've been exploiting in my comics, but yeah, I think that that's one of Neptune's major things is that he's all about like staying away from his opponents and being as far away from them as possible. Because if he gets up close, he's screwed, and
Yeah.
like he's just
Close
like
the distance of the glaive.
yeah. So I think that Neptune keeps his distance, and Sun is a close range fighter. I think that
Mm.
Scarlet is a dust specialist, but he's like as far as dust usage, he's like really heavy hitting mage, like, or I say Scarlet is he, but we don't know their gender. So anyway,
No, not officially.
yeah. So I think that they use like dust, but it's like a super powerful, like very easily angry and uh. I'm trying to think of the word, but I can't think of it. Anyway, I think that they are a very powerful dust user, and that they like kick ass and take names and stuff. And then Sage looks like he's like, you know, the heavy hitting physical fighter and stuff, but I
Mm-hmm.
think that he's like a team healer. I'm not sure how that would work in RWBY, especially since everybody has low key healing powers, but
Dude,
Sage
Jean, that's still one of my favorite things that a semblance heals. I really hope that's like the case.
like I said, everybody technically has healing powers, as said by Pierre and William.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
I totally think of Sage. Sage to me, like one day I was looking at his outfit. I was like, his outfit looks like a doctor's coat, and I was like, and Sage is a medicine. So, dude, if he was a healer, that'd be great. And like some of my
That'd be
art has
awesome.
hinted at that at times, like with the that symbol with the snakes around the staff or whatever. Like, and I'll put it on his the back of his outfit sometimes, or in a book he's reading or whatever. So
Hmm.
yeah, so I headcanon
Man,
that
you're all about
Sage.
the subtle references.
So yeah, is like Sage is to me is probably a doctor, and if not, I totally think that Sage has a prosthetic arm, which is my favorite headcanon. Which I didn't come up with it, but like Sage having a prosthetic arm
No.
would be awesome. That also turns into an arm cannon, which I've tried to animate many times, but
Yeah.
I fail at it because I have no idea how engineering
Yeah,
works.
that. I don't
Um,
understand animation, but that looks hard.
it is. Oh my god. Yeah. Other headcanons. I think that uh, uh, Team RWBY. Like my favorite thing about RWBY, like it's pretty much canon, is that she's smart and she's moved up 2 years, but there are certain words and things that she doesn't understand, which is my favorite thing. Like the whole Brussels thing, when they're in Search and Destroy, is like Ruby gets confused about words. Like when Weiss says, I know that you're used to taking on ne'er-do-wells, and Ruby is like, the who? And it's just like, it's one of my favorite low-key things about her is like, sometimes she just like, how do I words?
Mhm.
It's just, I love Ruby for that. And, so it's basically canon that sometimes she doesn't understand words.
Yeah.
Especially like big words and things like that. Um, let's see. Uh, yeah, one of my favorite headcanons. I don't know if anybody has noticed. Well, I'm gonna go into this one just cause that
Do it.
Neptune, like, everybody knows my headcanons for Team Sun is that they are not heterosexual in the slightest. But,
What?
but like, my favorite thing to draw is like Neptune, like, at Neptune behaving towards Jean the way Jean has behaving towards Weiss is my favorite joke.
Uh,
And you can tell it's my favorite joke. And I love using it. And it's like, one of these
it's so much
days I'm
fun.
getting around to branching out with my humor. But like, Noah's Ark, it writes itself. And it's just like, I have to draw this because it came to me. I gotta. It's so, it's just it's so easy to write for them and to
Yeah.
make jokes at their expense because honestly that's the type of characters that they are. Like
Yeah.
Neptune, for what little screen time he's had so far, he's shown to be pretty useless. So yeah, I love the useless noodle boys.
Well,
They're my
that's
favorites.
his team.
So, well, we know for sure that Sun is useless too, but we don't know if Sage and Scarlet are as useless, which I hope they're not. So, yeah.
One day. Best experiences in the fandom.
Oh my gosh, best experiences. Well, first and foremost, I have to mention my Hall of Fame because my Hall of Fame is like, oh my gosh, like unbelievable things I never in a million years would have thought have gotten acknowledged. Like sometimes I underestimate um how self-aware the RWBY crew, cast and crew is of their
Hmm.
fandom. And so like one of the main things that got me was like I was like looking at Marty's Facebook, God rest him, one day, and I I saw one of his Facebook posts. He's like, haha, so true. And it was my Juniper DDR comic. It was the
Oh my
comic
god.
where Jean was asking Ren to improve his agility and how he did it, and Ren is like, he gets all serious and he's like, it's a family secret that's been passed down for generations. Are you sure you need to know? It's grueling and hard work. And John is like, yes, I want to know. And Ren is like, here it is. And John is like, it's a DDR machine. And he's like, it's been passed through my family for generations. And like, cause
Uh,
somebody, I think it was Evie Paladin, they made the addition to my comic and they were like, and Ren is just like, Jean is like, it says it was made last year. And then Ren grabs Jean's face and turns him and he's like, generations. And it's like, that was one of my moments. I was like, I can't believe Bonnie found the comic. And then it's like,
oh
it's
my
one of those
god.
comics that was accidentally predictive too, because Ren has sweet moves, as we
Yeah.
saw in, Dance Infiltration, which is really, and
Yeah.
that's what made it worse, is the title of the episode was Dance Infiltration. It's just a blatant TDR reference. It's like, Oh my god. Like, that's the scary thing about my comics is that if I draw something in sequential art format, it might come true very soon. Or,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
So that's very scary sometimes. The other moment was when Sea Monkeys was christened by Michael and Carrie. Huh. Um, uh, something else. Um, jeez, was there is something else that was super like I couldn't believe it happened. One of my favorite things was when Chrissy fell into wet noodle hell. That was my favorite moment. I was
She
like,
fell in.
Zextrin likes Jean and Neptune. The
Uh,
idea of them. I was like, hey Chrissy, let me show you my wares. And it's just like, oh, I could not believe it. And just like seeing our post is like, guys, I do not ship boys easy, but Jean and Neptune are such dorks. And I was like, yes, join me, please. Join me with shipping these useless noodles. God, I
uh,
just, like, I get so irrationally happy about, like, Zextrin making, like, headcanons about Noah's Ark. And she calls it Blue Jay, but, you know, whatever. I like Noah's Ark more.
close
But
enough.
still, and Blue Jay is a cute name, but it's like, I
Yeah.
would totally consider that a platonic name for if I tagged them. Because I like the, like, people don't realize this, but I very much like the idea of Jean and Neptune as friends and stuff.
Hmm.
And, like, because, you know, like, Jean has this whole senpai, you're so cool thing going on. But, like, you can tell that Neptune, like, at least a little bit, kind of admires and respects Jean, too, based on the way they interacted in the prom episode. But
Yeah.
shipping them is just so much more hilarious and it's so funny. Um,
Oh yeah.
but so yeah, Chrissy shipping Jean and Neptune is really funny to me. It's just so,
Oh.
just like my crown jewel moment. It's just really funny. I'm like, how have you guys not seen this? Like, this is so good. It's a couple. There's another thing. Uh, seeing Chrissy say that Sun and Sage need to do less than heterosexual things together is also really validating because I'm like, yes, someone understands. So, I'm trying to think
Uh,
of other things.
that ship name's probably just gonna be shirtless. Like,
Well, their ship name it was something else, but I changed it because I didn't like the racist connotation behind it. So
yeah, I think I remember
yeah,
that
so right now they're
vaguely.
season thief, which is it's a lame pun, but I like it and I appreciate it. So I
I'm calling it shirtless.
anyway, so yeah, but so did Sage. I like the idea of him. Just cause like the fan and perception of Sage is that Sage he's like this stoic but like gentle giant kind of dude or whatever
Yeah.
and things like that. And just I like that. So and him and Son to just be really interesting. So
Aside from art and animation, is there any other medium you express your creativity in?
music. Yeah. Music I did band for years, like since fifth grade, so I'm Uh, I played the flute and I have a guitar and I am self-taught in guitar and I was in the percussion section and I was basically like a sort of self-taught percussionist kind of but not really. Well, yeah, I am pretty self-taught in percussion. So um but mostly I play guitar or whatever outside of music. I haven't touched the thing in months because I've been working on art, which is sad. But you know, I've
Rip.
written music, and I'm probably gonna get into like writing and composing music again. Like I've made MIDI files just because I don't have very much money, so I have to use like free software wherever I can find it to make most of my stuff. And I've composed songs before, and I'm probably gonna wind up composing more music in the future for future projects, which people should totally be on the lookout for. So, so yeah.
Will do.
So music is my second passion. Uh,
Okay.
I would love to try voice acting one day, but I don't know what kind of character my voice would be suited for, other than the main character of my future series. But let's see. Um,
It's a great starting point.
yeah. So, um, yeah. So music is my secondary passion.
All right. Did not know about the
Yeah.
music thing.
A lot of
Learn
people
something
don't.
new.
It's fine. People that don't know me offline don't know about the music.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm in the club now.
Hey.
Except now there's going to be a lot more people in that club. Uh, what is your favorite art piece, excluding your own?
Oh my gosh. Why must you do this to me?
Because I enjoy it.
Jeez. Gosh. This is really hard. I'm sure I've had a freak out over like some artwork that just like blew my mind. Like first person that comes to mind is Zune's again, but I'm not entirely sure. But just like any art that has like the group shots and that's really like articulate and well done usually like does it for me. It's like how like I burn out with art very easily sometimes, which is something that I don't think a lot of people know about me. So it's like when I see something that has like all this flourish and painted detail, I'm like, how did you do this? Especially if it's like all four members of a team or even like an ensemble picture that's like completely ridiculous, like that looks like a mural. But I can't think of any specific, and it's really frustrating. Like, so I don't, yeah, I can't really think of one. I'm a very easily impressed person, so
Same. That makes this show so much
yeah.
harder.
So I don't really know if there's I don't really know of any specific art pieces that really like blew my mind. There's like a lot of art in the fandom blows my mind because it's all so good. So yeah.
All right. Next question. How do you deal with negative criticism?
Make fun of it. I mean, like, it was really funny, especially considering I didn't really get any until like I was trying to sort out my thoughts and make sense of why I didn't like certain things that happened in Volume 2. So that was when I realized, oh hey, I'm popular enough to get Anna and hate now. This is amazing. Like,
I meant like, about your art.
About art. Well, yeah. I don't really get negative criticism about my art. So yeah, it's like I usually already know what's wrong with my art and what I'm making my art for. So it's like I usually don't ask for criticism on my art. So like if somebody points out something that's really dumb about my art, like that picture I drew that was of Scarlet and Sage when Neptune and Sun aren't home. And that picture, somebody pointed out how like the trombone wasn't drawn right. I was like, I literally traced the trombone. What are you talking about? So like, if it's something like that and people are pointing out something really specific, I usually like talk to that person directly about like that thing that they pointed out about my picture that was wrong. It's like, I usually talk to them about it. But other than that, I open tag viewer and reply viewer on my art almost all the time. So like it's like I usually don't see negative comments on my art. When I do, I usually either vague blog about it or I make fun of it or I, just ignore it. So it's just yeah.
All right. That's fair. Great way to open that one up. Oh yeah, just make fun of it. Really wasn't expecting that. What's your personal favorite part about your art?
Oh my gosh. This is a really complex question. Well, not complex, but it's just like it's hard to pinpoint because like I don't always like my art, especially depending on the day.
Yeah.
But one of the few things I like about my art is how fast I can get it done. And recently what I managed to do, because full color art is really hard, but I've recently learned like that if you do certain coloring techniques, like it can get done quicker. Like I personally like my coloring style when I use my paint, which is the free software I use for drawing sometimes. So when I draw in my paint, which is a lot like Paint Tool Sai, I usually like how my drawings come out in that program. But yeah, I don't like very much about my art. It's like I always know like stuff could be better. But it's like I like my coloring, I guess. Like, that's okay. I like how I ink traditionally. Not so much digitally, because digital inking is a real pain in the butt. So, it's just like, I like some aspects of my traditional art more than my digital art, but I always hate inking digitally so much. It's such a pain. So, I like how fast I can draw, and I like my coloring when I actually do color things. But other than that, it's not really, I don't really like much about it. I like the way I draw eyes. That's about it.
The surprised eyes. Yeah, nobody, well, probably some people do, but nobody really expects you to like your art, but something to work towards.
Yeah.
And, I enjoy it, so.
Thank you.
I'm selfish. As long as I enjoy it. Are you surprised by the success of your art?
Yeah. Well, I mean, on the one hand, yes. On the other hand, no. Because I have a very surprisingly high number of followers on Tumblr, which is very strange in my opinion, because, like, my art accounts have never really been popular anywhere else except for on Tumblr. And I think that's what Tumblr's strength is that, it's a niche type thing where people can blog and find exactly what they're looking for. And it's like, my art kind of like, it's easy to find and it's accessible, so naturally, like, lots of people are going to be able to find it easier. So, on that point, it is not surprising that my art is popular. But, on the other hand, it's like, in certain situations, like, I'll, like, make some art and it'll get lower notes compared to other artworks that I've done. And I'm like, what the heck? Come on, people. This is great. This is brilliant. I worked super hard on this. Like that recent comic I posted about, that was a callback joke to, Weiss talking down to RWBY and being sarcastic. And she was like, and we can paint our nails and buy clothes and talk about cute boys, like Topline and Scraggly over there. And then in the next panel, it's literally Team Shun getting their nails painted and getting their hair done and talking about cute boys and trying on clothes. And it's like, man, what the heck, people? This is brilliant. This is great comedic material and you're ignoring it. My art is wasted on you.
Guys, I'm funny, I swear.
So it's like sometimes it works out, especially if like I reference something that people understand easily. But on the other hand, it's like sometimes I feel like my art is also it fluctuates a lot. It's like I'm not surprised by my success, but at the same time, it's like that one reaction image of Dexter. It's like, where is everyone? I should have been famous a minute ago. So
oh yeah, you said Dexter, and my mind immediately went to the serial show.
Dexter's laugh.
I was really confused there for a half second.
Yeah, it's a reaction image of Dexter's laugh, and I guess he's like on his golf course. He's like, where is everyone? I should have been famous a minute ago. But yeah, so sometimes I feel like that. Which, sometimes I feel conceited for it, but on the other hand, it's like, you can't win them all.
I don't blame you for feeling like that. How often do you encounter creativity block or general lack of motivation, and how do you manage to overcome it and continue creating such great pieces?
What's the last part?
And continue creating such great pieces.
I am very, like I said, I burn out very easily, which is something that a lot of people don't realize about me. And like, I have, mental illness issues. Like, I have depression, I have anxiety and stuff. So it's like, some days it's just like, when I need to be productive, I can't be productive because of my mental health, and it sucks major butt. But, it's like, for me, it's like, even if I'm art blocked, it's like I'll draw, even if it's something I don't necessarily want to draw. And it's just like, I just power through it. It's like I've trained myself to like just draw every single day, even if like I don't feel like drawing what I'm drawing or working on something. So it's like, if I have creative block, I'll just power through it. If I can't help my creative block because I'm depressed or something, it's just like, well, let me take my meds and see if things improve. Let's see, other things. I usually try to draw something different every time I draw, because I don't like when my art looks the same, but unfortunately a lot of my art looks like the same. It's like, oh yeah, let me draw something ambitious today. The same character facing 3/4 view to the left. So it's just like it's frustrating. I try to draw something or someone different every time I draw. Like people don't realize this. I actually try to make an effort to draw like every single character at least once. Uh, so, and it's like sometimes I get frustrated when I focus too much on drawing one character or like only these same four characters. Which is why, for somebody who likes Team Sun a lot, I don't make a lot of Team Sun fan art, or as much as I thought I would, because it's just like I want to draw somebody else though. Like I love you guys, but like the number one thing I want to draw is I want to draw like characters with long flowy hair or something like Pyrrha. But I've already drawn Pyrrha before, so it's like I want to draw somebody else with long flowy hair. It's like,
Yang.
and it's like, but I've drawn Yang before. It's just so.
Blake.
I'm very
characters.
picky about what I want to draw, but it's like I wind up drawing this. It's like I'm the type of person that's like I want to eat something different from the menu, but it's like I can't make up my mind, so I order the same thing I always get. So
Yo, that's totally me.
yeah, so that's what it's like in art for me. It's like, well, gotta draw something, and it's like if I'm frustrated with drawing, I'll usually just go to writing, which that was another thing that people don't realize. I can write, it's just I don't write. Except when I'm doing like plot development stuff for my stories and ideas and things. Like I'll take notes of ideas, but I'm actually like write too often. So yeah. I mean I occasionally do, but I'm not good at it. I mean, I'm passable at writing, but I'm not. So if I can't draw, I'll usually like just take some notes on some ideas that have been floating around in my head and write them down in OneNote or whatever. So, yeah. So that's how I power through art block and art problems in creative block. I either take my meds or I draw anyway, or I just write things down to draw later.
All right. All good ways. Just kind of power through it sometimes, or if you can't, then just. I like the idea. I like the thought process behind that. Yeah. Interesting ways. What do you do to get ready to draw?
Just draw. I don't really have this complicated psych up process. It's just I just sit down and do it. If
it makes you feel any better, like nobody does.
Yeah, it's like I draw until it makes sense. Like the first thing I scribble is the circle and the T-shaped thing for the eyes, and then I go from there. And I usually don't know who or what I'm drawing, depending on if it's not planned. I usually just like draw until I'm like, oh, it turned into this character. All right, we're going with this pose. If it's not 3/4 spacing left. So, so I usually just, just sit down, draw the circle, draw the T, and then see where we go from there. So, I mean, yeah, it's not really that special.
I had been getting like actual answers to that question too recently. I feel like I got spoiled by that. I came to expect too much. Because God, that question just like I don't know. I put it into the list because like this is gonna be super interesting, and then the first answer I got was like, yeah, I turn on certain music depending on what character I'm writing. Like,
oh yeah.
I was like, okay, that's cool. And then after that, it was like that was just it for a while.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I usually have to listen to music when I draw. Because, like, if I don't, I'm the type of person, depending on the day and depending on how my mental health is going, like, I get very easily irritable by very mundane things. Like, if my mom is talking on the phone in the background or something, and she won't be saying anything bad, and it's not like she's being that bad or like she's talking really loud, but for some reason on one particular day, if she's talking loud, I'll be annoyed by it, and I'll put in my earphones and listen to music. Cause like, I'll be like nitpicking everything and every sound going on around me. And I'm also very easily distracted, so music kinda helps ground me and my thoughts. So, well, most of the time. But then there are just songs that make me think of AMVs that I have to animate, and I'm like, dang it. So, for the most part, like, music keeps me grounded, but, other than that, or, like, recently what I've been doing is I'll just have, like, Let's Plays and stuff like that going on in the background from, like, Game Grumps and Achievement Hunter going on in the background while I draw. Especially if I'm looking for voice actor jokes because I'm trash. Like,
Next question. What is your general thought on your art? general
My general
the general
it could be
thoughts on your
better.
art.
It can always be better. And I'm such a perfectionist, and I hate it because I'm trying to learn to cut back on the perfectionism. Like, basically, my point of view is that it, I'm not always going to have the opportunity to draw what I want. So it's best just to draw this thing and to get it done, or to lay some groundwork and at least get some like concept stuff done that I can expand on in the future. So it's like my art is not always polished and not always good looking. And sometimes I get up in arms about that, about my art. But at the end of the day, it's like I just ask myself, what am I making the art for? And is it okay if it goes incomplete? So yeah, like, yeah, just like some early concept stuff, like uh just like I've always hated how like my concept stuff looks so unfinished, but it's like, wait, I'm a concept artist, this is fine. Like, as long as people can understand what the image is supposed to be, it's fine. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay. And like, that's one of those things that like I learned from RWBY, actually, because like the stuff, like a lot of the things a lot of RWBY's criticism is that it looks unpolished, it looks unfinished, doesn't look visually appealing. But for the type of series that it is, at least it's out there, and at least they can make improvements upon it as they go along.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, I mean, it's out there and it's done, and that's like one of those things that has helped me, that has helped inspire me and helped me uh make more art more often, even if it's not polished and perfect. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
I know why I'm making this stuff, because it's all going to turn into something much better one day. So, that's one of, so that's my opinion. As for my comics, though, I think my comics are funny because they make me laugh. That's why I draw them. So if I can make me laugh, then it's fine. And if I share those comics and other people laugh, that's even better. So, and that's the main reason why I draw comics and why I want to draw like other things like animations and stuff, because like, like, humor in comics is one of those things that got me through a lot of rough things, like, because like I said, like, I have depression and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, so I'm very easily bummed out by circumstances and things, and it's like doing art is what helps me kind of get through the day. And if my art helps other people get through the day, then that's fine by me. So even if my art's not perfect, like, somebody else sees it, and people constantly tell me that I am an inspiration to them. And I'm like, what are you talking about? This stuff's not done and it's not polished. But they tell me anyway. And it's just like, well, I guess I'm doing something right.
Yep.
So I'm going to keep doing it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's cool. I mean, I enjoy seeing your stuff on a regular basis. I've known people that have really, really enjoyed that. I actually know somebody that was like, yeah, it does help, like on a somewhat regular basis. So I mean, it's all good. Even if it's not polished, you're right. Just get it out there, get it done.
Yeah.
Exposure.
So, yeah. So,
What have you learned from your art?
what have I learned from art? That being fast is important. Thank you, Marty.
I was gonna say Sonic.
um, but getting it done and knowing the purpose of what you're drawing is very key into how uh you view your art. That's one of the most like important things. So it's like, if I'm doing a commission, I can't, if I'm discontent with how the commission looks because it looks unpolished, I can't just leave it be because it's for a client.
Yeah.
So I gotta make it more polished and work on it some more. If it's concept art for my own stuff, it doesn't have to be polished, and it's concept art, so it doesn't have to be finished. If I'm making a comic, the thing about making comics is that comics have to be readable, they have to be accessible to your audience, and you have to know your audience when it comes to comics.
Yeah.
So the comics are always made in a streamlined format that is more accessible and easy to read, and it's simple, so that people won't get confused about what's going on. So understanding the purpose of your art is very important in how self-critical you need to be about your art. So, and that's helped me a lot. Especially with developing a whole bunch of animation ideas and working on collaborations with people and stuff like that. So, very thankful to have learned that. So, know what your art is for, and being fast is important.
So, next question off of that tangent. How do you manage your time?
Poorly.
Okay. seems to be ever so the popular response.
Like I'm the type of person that like I go with the flow, because if I plan things, things don't work out. Like if I make an effort, like okay, I'm gonna work on this day, something happens and screws up my plans every time without fail for my entire life. If I schedule something, if I put it in my phone, it never works out. Never. Like if I put a date to something, it doesn't work out. So it's just like I've learned to live with that, and it's like yeah, it doesn't work for everybody, but it works for me. So it's just like I go with my whims and my instincts on what I should be doing or what I should not be doing. So yeah, it's like if nobody's stopping me, how bad could it be, right? But yeah, for the most part, it's like my first thing is like I'll try to finish something that I started previously, if I intended for it to be finished. And if it's not working out or if it's stressing me out, I just work on something else. Um, Commissions are typically my high priority and whatever. And commissions are hard to work on
Yeah.
because you got to make them right for someone else, especially, and you can't take like people like my commissions because of creative license, but it's like I can't get too creative sometimes with people's commissions. So it's like if I could get commissions out of the way, it's like then I could do whatever I want for the rest of the week. So most of the time it's like commissions are my first priority. But if not, if I'm having art block or having trouble getting something to look the way it should, then I work on whatever I was working on previously and try to get it finished or get it completed looking, basically. So, but other than that, I've managed my time very poorly and just go with whatever comes to me.
All right. That's fair. It's all very, very fair.
It works for me. I swear it does.
I swear. I see your commissions thing pop up so often, and just every single time I do, I'm like, I want to do it, but
Yeah.
money.
Yeah,
It's
it
like,
sucks. Especially like my younger fans, they always tell me like, "I want to commission you, but I can't because I don't have my own account." And
yeah.
it's like, "I'm sorry." And it's like, I could be
Same.
on the one hand, I could be that guy and tell them how to work around having money to pay me, but I don't want to be that guy because that's really giving the runaround. So
Yeah.
yeah, let's not do that.
You know, one day I'll have money. One day.
Uh,
If you could work on an art piece with any other artist, who would it be with and why? One in fandom, one out of fandom, and you must not have worked with them previously.
oh my god, this is such a hard question.
I love this question.
Um, if I could work with somebody outside of the fandom, well, I mean, like, I already collaborate with my friends as is on projects and ideas and stuff. But artistically, like, I would really want to collaborate with, um, hmm. This is really hard. I hate this. Um, jeez. Whose art style do I like the most? I would probably work with Kazuki Takahashi just so that we could finally have a female Yu-Gi-Oh protagonist. And I have one designed, and like she has anglerfish hair. Because all the Yu-Gi-Oh protagonists have sea creature hair, and it's really funny.
Is it really sea creature hair?
Yes.
What's Yugi's
Have you
then?
noticed? Starfish.
Makes a lot of sense now.
Did you have a RWBY moment there?
Hey, listen, no, that actually that caught me off guard. That took me by surprise.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh my
I don't
God,
think
Penny's
that
a robot.
Takahashi purposely designed their hair after sea creatures. But the pattern is like just really funny to notice. So Yugi is a starfish, Jaden is a jellyfish, Yusei is a crab, Yuma is a shrimp, and Yuya is like a sea urchin thingy. But yeah, so
Wow.
secret. But anyway, I would collaborate with Kazuki Takahashi to make a Yu-Gi-Oh series that has a female protagonist. Cause that'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Who else is my favorite artist? Like I said, I like the artist for Blue Exorcist a lot, and I'm not sure if I would collaborate with him though. I would collaborate with Kazuki Takahashi. In the fandom, I hope I don't say the name of somebody that doesn't actually like me. But like I really, 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 really like Suni's art so much. It's so pretty. Like one day when I get the money and have it saved up, I really want her to draw like Teve's son gender bends, but like I shouldn't say gender bend. People don't like that word. But you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I know what you mean.
visual
Flip.
redesigns of them with feminine traits.
Fem. Fem exclamation point
Yeah.
son.
Yeah, that. But like the thing about like feminized redesigns is that I don't like when they make the redesigns with such long hair. It's like, just like I really like when girls have really short hair, and like that's when I draw the feminized designs. I always draw them with shorter hair. If anything, like when I draw female versions of characters and of the characters that have short hair, I usually draw them with curlier hair. That's like about it. It's a pet peeve of mine when they make their hair longer, right?
That's fair.
And when they make their boobs obnoxiously big. My biggest pet peeves with Spectrum Fly drawings. Hate it. So yeah.
I feel like
But yeah.
you say that though. All right, I'm just gonna throw this out there. If just like going off of what we know of Sun right now, the way Sun's designed right now, if you were to do Fem Sun, totally would imagine big boobs. Just because right now Sun's such a fan service character, like
I've drawn Sun already, but
no.
Sun's boobs aren't that big. Like
Yeah.
when I draw Sun as feminine.
Yeah,
like,
I mean it's fair.
They
Just
have
throwing it out
very
there.
like they have B cups. So
Okay.
yeah.
I don't know boob
That's
sizes.
how well, okay, they have like medium size.
Okay, thank you.
Not like Sun's not like Yang in proportions. Like
Okay.
he and like Sun has the same boob size as Blake.
Okay.
I'll say that. So and Neptune is like the same boob size as Weiss.
Okay.
Sage has the same boob size as Yang.
I can see that too.
Yeah. So
I was
that's
just
how
saying
I
it
draw
because
them.
Sun's like a fan service, like such a fan service character because his shirt's already open.
Yeah. But I've drawn feminine designs. They're not very popular, but I don't care. It's like I like them with short hair, so suck it.
Yeah.
I don't care.
That's fair. I see. And you're right. You do see him with longer hair. I guess I never put much thought into it.
Yeah.
Mostly because I don't do these kinds of things. I'm just like I stick with the canon portrayal of things, and I don't ever deviate from that because I'm boring.
Okay.
All right.
So
Next question, and this question is of the utmost importance: pancakes or waffles?
oh my god. Well, on the one hand, like pancakes are fluffy, but on the other hand, waffles are crispy and they have those grooves in them that take the syrup in better. But, I'm gonna say pancakes. Because yeah, pancakes are awesome.
That was such a thought out this question.
That's such a Renora sounding question to me. It's like, yeah, but I'm Renora trash, so let's go with pick.
Not really, because Norris is pancakes, but it's just like,
Yeah.
holy crap, you really thought that one through.
I think a lot of things through that are like I think through things that don't need as much thought put into them as they do.
Oh my god. On one hand, oh god, pancakes are floofy.
They are. I want to try one of those rice cooker pancakes one day because those look
Those
amazing.
look really good. I've never had one, but god, that was funny. All right. Next question, and this is my favorite question, and this is evil.
Oh god.
I'm gonna strip away your art, and I'm stripping away Sun. What do you think your reputation is within the fandom?
My reputation is the one that screams about voice actors all the time and makes too many puns, I would say.
All right, well,
But
that's the
yeah,
fastest
I think
anybody's ever gotten through that question.
yeah, like also somehow okay, like back when there was like drama about Volume 2 and stuff, for some reason, people thought that I hate Jean.
Oh
And I'm
yeah.
like, what's wrong with you? Jean is like one of my favorite characters. He's my trash noodle son. It's like, just because I'm calling him out on his crap doesn't mean I
Yeah.
hate him. I like Jean. I really do.
You're not Chrissy.
That was my reputation for a brief while. Actually, like people legitimately thought I hated Jean,
Wow.
which is really funny to me. I'm like,
That's pretty hilarious.
you don't pay attention at all. Like there are so many things where like there's a string of anon hate that I got, and like people criticizing my criticism stuff, which is fine. It's like I'm fine with like having an open dialogue about that stuff, because like I'm not always right. I was just like processing my feelings at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But people who thought that I hated Jean and was being unfair about like how I thought their relationship should go or how their interactions go, I was like, oh please, like this is like so absurd.
Yeah.
Like people thought that I hated one ship over another. I'm like, dude, I don't ship Noah's Ark over Arcos. I like Arcos a lot. Like you just really don't.
What about now?
You really don't know me very well. So, but I think my reputation, minus the art and Sun, would definitely be like I scream a lot about voice acting coincidences and puns.
All right.
And fan casting probably.
Oh, all right. Well, that's the fastest anybody's ever gotten through that question. Normally it's just like, oh, well, what do I? Why? What is final two questions?
Ooh.
What is the question you get asked the most?
Oh, jeez. I have an FAQ for this. Oh my god. And yet, I can't remember anything on it. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is like my art questions or whatever. Like what art programs do you use or whatever. That's something I get asked a lot. Like, advice for how to get better at drawing or how did I get so good at drawing, whatever. Your typical, common artist questions or whatever when you're a popular artist. I'm trying to think of a fandom question I get asked a lot. I'm sure people have like, yeah, I can't think of like a fandom question I get asked a lot.
Cloudwalker AU.
Oh, well, people don't really ask me about that. Okay. Like, not often, but I have been asked about that. I can elaborate on it later, but for now, I'm trying to answer this question. Yeah, the questions that people ask me a lot is like, you know, like, how do you draw this? How do you learn how to draw? How did you teach yourself to do this? What programs do you use for art is like the most common one that I get. So yeah, I don't really have a fandom question that I get asked a lot.
Okay. It's fair. It was just kind of like a general thing.
Yeah.
On to the last question. Totally not like an hour later. What is the biggest piece of advice you can give to aspiring artists / animators?
Practice. Oh my gosh! Like seriously, like practice. I cannot say that enough. Like, I'm serious. The time that you're probably spending beating yourself up thinking, oh, I can't draw this, you could be spending trying to practice and work towards getting better at drawing that thing you're complaining that you can't draw. Seriously. Like, and constructively use your discontent with your art and or your skill and use that to get better. Because that's one of the things that's out, like, always been driving me to improve more and more. So that, like, when I see somebody else's art and it's like, God, I wish I could ink like that, I, like, furiously practice inking until, like, I was at least at a point where I didn't hate the way my inking looked and things like that. Like, use your, just, like, use your energy and discontentment to forward your art. Like, seriously. And you don't need fancy tools to make something great. Like, I started out with traditional art. I even always draw on copy paper with regular pencils and things like that. And so it's like, from there, it's like, you'd be surprised, like, using, like, use what you can to make what you want, basically. Like, and if you don't have resources, then figure it out. Because believe me, you're smart enough and you're ingenious enough that you can probably figure out how to make what you're trying to make become what you want it to be. So yeah, practice and scribble until things make sense, and draw what you like until you can draw it without having a reference, because that's always a good feeling. So yeah, and there's nothing wrong with doing art and not being like a super fine artist or super renowned artist. Like seriously, if you just draw for a hobby, that's perfectly okay. And if you're just drawing just to be able to do it in your free time, that's fine. So don't get all up in arms over how your art doesn't look like the Mona Lisa or something, especially if you are aiming for certain other styles and whatnot. Like art does not art sometimes can seem really pretentious, and it can seem like, oh, art always has to have a purpose and whatever. And it's like, make art because you are making things that you want to make. Seriously, like that. Art exists for yourself first and for others second. Unless you do commissions, then it exists for your client first. But other than that, like, make art for yourself, and if you don't like how you're drawing something, then look up how to make it better. And always use references. So, yeah. That's my advice. I'm sorry if my advice sounds the same as literally every other popular artist that has given advice before.
Listen, practice like slash draw slash just keep writing. Like that's like the biggest, like that's what everybody says. That's what people say typically. Except for cosplayers. Cosplayers are actually the only time that I ever get a different variation of advice. Yeah. And that is just don't care about images. Like don't care about like being accurate, being like 100% accurate. Yeah. Like to what the person is, just go out and cosplay. Like that's been the thing that I've gotten from the cosplayers that I've had on so far. It's just like, all right, well,
if people recognize you, you're doing it right. If people recognize what character you're trying to be, you're doing it right. So, right. I'm trying to think. That's pretty much That's
all right.
Do it.
That's going to conclude the questions portion of the interview. Is there anybody in particular that you would like to give a shout out to that will be linked in the comments below? Strictly because I don't want to link everybody that we talked about. A lot of people.
Let's see. I'm going to type it in the thingy.
Yeah, you can do that, but also do say them so that, for interview purposes.
Shout out to Chicken Ram and Equinox Queen and Oceana to Oceana, or however I say their username. Sorry, I'm so sorry. The Rabbit Doodles and the King Kids, aka we're the Sun Council on Twitter, because we all nerd out about Team Sun because they haven't been showcased in their full glory yet, and it's very upsetting. So shout out to those nerds, and they make great art and great writing, and you should check their stuff out because their art is super cute. So yes, yeah, that's what I got. So yeah, I'll type it in the bottom.
All right. Is there anybody else?
Not.
So just like the one.
Not that I can think of.
All right.
So,
all right.
Oops. Let's see.
I like that you typed in oops. Oops. Let me just make sure I reaffirm. All right. Well, with that is going to conclude this episode of Cody Talks Fandom. I gradually became less allergic as time went on.
Yay!
Really, really glad for that. So that means that the artist is now complete. You can't see, but I just deleted the artist off of the schedule that I have in front of me.
Okay.
Meaning up next is going to be continuing on in the fanon interpretation episodes, in which I break down the way that people are portrayed in the fanon versus in the canon. And this is going to be for Pira Nikos, Captain Canada herself, be talking about how they are. Up next in terms of interviews is going to be the musician's interview, ideally. And then yeah. After that, there will be more stuff that'll come out. So next Tuesday should be the interview announcement. So tune in for that. Otherwise, I will see all of you the next time. Bye.